Welcome back, class of 2023. I'm Mrs. Maps. I'm in room 223.
My name is Mrs. Duskevich. Many of you know me as Mrs. D. We're going to be your junior class advisors this year. I'm in room 216, and now our officers are going to tell you about some ways you can get involved in school activities this year.
Hello, my name is Ashley Ferguson, and I am the junior class liaison.
Hi, my name is Olivia Sorrento, and I'm the junior class treasurer.
Hello, my name is Madison Rozick, and I'm the class secretary.
Hello, I'm Jolie Crichon, and I'm the vice president.
I'm Troy Benfanti. I'm the class president. So some good ways to get involved this year, if you want to, is you can become a homeroom representative. And so we'll be coming around the classrooms, handing out the forms. So if you want to fill those out, that's a really good way to get involved and show that you're doing something from school.
Hi, class of 2023. Happy second day of school. My name is Kelly Barnes, and I'm the STAPCOM president for this year. I'm just going to talk to you guys today about getting involved and why it's important. So, when you guys were freshmen, you were just getting used to the school. Maybe you didn't join any clubs or get involved. And then as sophomores, clubs weren't running. So if you haven't done a club, I highly encourage you to do one. It's never too late to get started. It's also never too late to become a homeroom rep for the first time. As Charlie was saying, becoming a homeroom rep is a great way to get involved directly with your class officers and work directly with them on events that happened this year. As a homeroom rep, you would be not only informed yourself, but also connecting your homeroom with the junior class. So it's a great way to stay up to date on the events at Orchard Park. Also for clubs, it's a great way to get involved. I know I've done many clubs here, and I grab some friends, we go down to the club, have a great time with other people, and make really great connections with the great teachers here at Orchard Park. I talked to the seniors yesterday, and I really encourage them that if they haven't joined a club, that they should probably do so. So don't wait, don't be that senior that hasn't done anything and now needs to get started and tries to join everything. On page 8 of your agenda, there's a whole list of clubs and all the advisors and where you can find those clubs. So try to look at that. Also, we have our first STAPCOM meeting on September 20th, so I highly encourage you to come. It's at 7 o'clock in the Commons. It's a Monday, and it's a really great way to know what STAPCOM is doing behind the scenes for not only your class, but the entire school. If you think of an event that would be fun to have at Orchard Park, use your voice. Come to the meeting, see what we're doing. If we're not doing what you want, then use your voice. Talk to your class officers, talk to me. I'm in room 163. Your class officers, you can find them in room 163 as well. It's Mrs. Rominger's room. Also, follow STAPCOM on Instagram. It's at OPHS STAPCOM. Just quick, easy reminders about different events, such as our Spirit Day, which is tomorrow, so wear Bill's stuff for tomorrow. If you don't have any Bill's stuff, you have like 24 hours to go buy some, so highly recommend to do that. And with that, I will now introduce Mr. Wolf, the principal.
Thanks, Kelly. Juniors, welcome to your junior year, day 2. Super excited to be back in school with everybody all at the same time. I know that you guys have not had a typical year. I think the unofficial theme for this year is let's have a typical year. I don't know what normal is anymore, so we're going with typical. So it's good that everybody's here. It's good that we're back in classes and we're doing things. I got to give you a few reminders of where we're at with COVID at this point. So you all know that you have to wear masks every day while in school. So we have mask breaks, we have all those things in place. When you're outside for a class, when you're outside for PE, you can take your mask off. It's not required, it's recommended, but it's not required. So please pay attention to that. Make sure you have your mask worn properly too. I know it gets annoying and I know it's easy to let it slide under your nose, but part of what we're trying to do as a school district is stay in person all 5 days and not have an outbreak. That's the part that everybody can play to help us stay here and stay in school face to face, is wear your mask properly and follow the protocols. The other thing that's a major deal is we are now bound to do those health screenings every day. So starting today, every student got an email at 12:01. So what you can do, and if you haven't done it yet today, log in, open your email, your school email. There'll be a message from the district about your COVID check-in. You go in, you answer the 4 questions quickly, and you're all set to go. If you don't do that, we'll have to call you down, and it happened for 300 people yesterday. Call you down, ask you the questions, and take your temperature. So please take the time. It's a fast step every day before you come in the building. Fill that form out. It's very important. In terms of other things you're going to see, we don't have to clean desks in between every class. Obviously in lunch, everybody's in lunch. There's more people. It's 3 feet in lunch. So please, when you're eating, you don't need to wear your mask, but when you're not eating, please use your mask. And again, hand sanitizers everywhere in the building. A big part of what we're doing to try and make sure that everybody stays healthy is keep the building clean. So no different than any other year. Take care of your own garbage, take care of your recyclables, everything like that. Don't just drop it on the floor, don't just leave it in a classroom. Make sure you find the right garbage can and put it in that. And everybody doing their part will help and make sure that we're in a clean and a safe environment. Other things I need to touch on. The Dignity for All Students Act, I've talked about that a few times in these assemblies for you guys. It's important to remember that you need to treat each other with respect at all times, whether you're in school or out of school. And honestly, you guys do a great job of that. I'm hoping and I'm expecting that to continue. But it's important to remember that anything that you put on social media that may be considered harassment, bullying, or a threat to anybody can have in-school ramifications. So please, don't put anything on social media that you wouldn't want somebody to say about you or do for you. That's just common sense. And that's all I need to say about that. If you do run into a problem, you can report that to me if you're a student or an adult, or report it to your house office. Any adult will help you get in the right direction to help you if you're in one of those situations. Just a brief reminder for the students going to Ormsby. The buses will leave today at 12:15, and always on a special assembly schedule day, which we have a few of those, or an Olvea schedule or an early release schedule. The buses will leave after 5L. If there's something different with that, we will get you information about that on your schedule. But today, the buses will leave at 12:15 for Ormsby. With that, I just want to tell everybody that I'm super excited for this year. You'll see that a lot of the stuff that we normally do or typically do is back in place. We just have to make alterations. So you're going to hear a lot about homecoming coming quickly. And all those events are being moved to the outside, but we're going to try and preserve as much as we can. And so you'll hear more about that, so pay attention to that as you go. Have a great year, everybody, and go Quakers. It's my privilege to introduce Mr. Hafner, the House 1 principal.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Good morning, juniors. My name is Mr. Hafner. I'm the new House 1 principal here at Orchard Park High School. I'm going to be talking to you today about a couple of things that you have already heard about in your previous years if you've already been here, and that's attendance and dress code. With regard to attendance, and I'm just going to be working on page 13 in your handbook if you do have it. Attendance is, well, first off, what a privilege this year to be able to come to school every day, so let's take advantage of it. Attendance is really important with regard to you coming to school. There's a direct correlation between your attendance and grades, so make sure that you're here so that you can be in class and learn what you need to do. But if you're not here, or if you have to leave early, or if you come in late, there's a process by which you have to make sure that you follow to get your excuses in. So at the front desk in our Baker foyer, we have Ms. Hollis. Ms. Hollis will accept all notes for any type of absence. So you need a note for absent for a day, tardy, coming into school, or if you have to leave early for any reason. Those notes have to be written by your parents, and then you can turn those into Miss Hollis at the front desk in the Baker foyer. So just make sure that you're doing that. If you end up with excessive absences, you could be referred by a teacher, depending on the number of absences. As that referral process continues, there is an opportunity or there is a chance that if you have too many absences, that you could be denied credit for a course. So just keep that in mind. For semester courses, that's 12 absences, and for full year courses, that's 20 absences. So after you've hit that mark or exceeded that mark, there is a possibility that you'll be denied credit for that class. So just keep that in mind when you are here and if you have, for any reason, excessive absences. Just making sure I'm getting everything here. Okay, I'm going to move on to dress code. With regard to dress code, we're just asking everybody to dress in a respectful manner. Okay, we want to make sure that everything is covered. We don't want to see any type of undergarments, straps, or bands. Want to make sure that our shirts that we have don't have profanity, images of drug use, and alcohol use, or anything that would be offensive to any of our protected groups. So with regard to shirts, we don't want to see midriff, so no midriffs can be shown. With regard to shorts and skirts, we want to just make sure that they're at a reasonable length. So we don't have a guideline like we used to with regard to down to the fingertips, but we just want to make sure that they're reasonable length and that they cover enough. So make sure that you are keeping your dress code to a reasonable and respectful look. So something like office casual. So that's all I have. I'm now going to introduce Mr. Lynch, who is our House 2 principal.
Good morning, junior class. I'm Mr. Lynch, the House 2 principal. I'm going to talk to you today about discipline, eligibility, and a little bit about the safety drills. Most of you have heard a lot of this in the past, so I'll be as brief as I can. As far as the discipline process, several things can happen. You can get consequences from teachers, such as staying after school, go to detention, things like that. My suggestion to you is if a consequence does arise from a teacher, that you follow it and you don't end up in your house office where you get written warnings or written referrals. Written warnings usually come with an hour after school mandated. If you don't stay, the hour turns into 2 hours. If you don't stay again, 2 to 4, things like that. So if you do get in trouble, my suggestion to you is take the consequence, do your time, and move on. As far as referrals go, we do have a 5-level system. So first referral, level 1, usually a 3-hour detention, and progressively stronger consequences from there, all the way up to possible suspension, parent conferences, and eventually if you get to level 5, the superintendent will get involved. As far as like vapes and different things like that, those are all very black and white. It's 3 hours after school for every offense. So just realize that that's there. Masks, similar to cell phones. If a teacher asks you to do it or a staff member asks you to pull up your mask, just do it. We all need to be vigilant. And if a teacher's asking you 5, 6, 7 times in the course of a week, you're obviously going to end up in the house office and phone calls. And it just doesn't need to get to that. We're all more mature than that. Eligibility, I know we all are trying to get everybody involved in as many activities as we can, but we do have to realize we're students first, and we have to take care of our classroom, our class activities, and doing what we have to do in the classroom. If it comes to it, your teacher could ask you to get your grades up, talk to your coach, maybe you're not going to play in a game. We just don't want it to get that far, but realize that there is a process in effect for that. And you can find all that information in your handbook. I believe it's on pages 26 and 27. Lastly, safety drills. You've all been here in the past, but for those of you that haven't, we're going to do 6 fire drills in the fall and 2 more in the spring. We're going to do 4 lockdowns, the first of which will happen next week or so in the cafeteria. And There will be 3 more lockdowns after that. And the only other one that you're really going to hear about is shelter in place. Shelter in place, if you hear that, it means something, happened in the hallway, where we just don't want the traffic going through there, so we'll hold you in your classrooms. It's very similar to a lockdown, except that you don't have to go into the blind corner. I forgot to mention, for lockdowns this year, we are going to stay in our desks. We're not going to go to the blind corner. Teachers will just tell you where you would go and how you would do it in the event of a real emergency. That's basically all I have. I do want to say welcome back, and let's have a great year. I'll call up Dr. Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. I'm Dr. Fisher, the House 3 principal, and my portion of the review this morning will be centered around medications, the acceptable use policy, and then cell phones. So to begin, to review, you are very used to by now using district technology. You've used it since middle school, and it'll be no different, in fact, ramped up here at the high school. So we just want to make sure that you're aware that whenever you're using district technology, even if it's just the network on your own connected device and not even a Chromebook issued to you, that you're only using the network and district technology for school-appropriate things. You shouldn't be streaming unless you're directed to by a teacher, Netflix or YouTube or something like that. You should be using the network and any district-provided hardware like a Chromebook or a calculator or something like that, only for school-appropriate activities. So please keep that in mind. There's an acceptable use policy located in the student handbook, and that outlines in more detail some of the do's and don'ts. But basically, if you're using district technology, just make sure it's something that would be appropriate for a classroom and should be fine. The next is medications. And this is a very important topic because there could be very stiff consequences affiliated with having medications in school. So the medications, any medications at all, including something as simple as aspirin or a multivitamin, needs to be housed in the nurse's office only. You cannot have any of those objects on your person or in your backpack or in your locker or even out in the car for the upperclassmen at all, period. So this becomes an issue sometimes centered around dances when people might be staying over at someone else's house, or athletic events where after you compete, you routinely take an aspirin or something like that, so you just have it in your bag. You cannot do that. You cannot have medications on your person, in your bags, in gym lockers or whatever. All of that needs to be on file and stored in the nurse's office only. Moreover, you as a student cannot bring that medication into the nurse's office yourself. Mom, dad, parent, guardian must bring that medication into the nurse and have it on file. So please make sure that you're following those rules. Like I said, there's some pretty stiff consequences for having those things on your person if you happen to be caught with them. The last thing to speak with you about is cell phones and earbuds. Nothing has really changed in terms of our cell phone policy. You've been familiar with it for the last few years. Your cell phone should be off and away all day. If you do have it on you, don't pull it out in class. Don't think because it's on silent you can look down and quickly check it and it's no big deal. Teachers are going to be very vigilant about that, about making sure that they're off and away. The only time you should have it out is if you're directed to by a teacher to take it out for some sort of educational purpose in the classroom. So please make sure that that is off and away all day. If a teacher should happen to catch you while you're using it, either in the classroom or in a bathroom or in a hallway or something like that, they're going to ask you to give them the device along with your student ID, and then that phone will be taken to the house office. In that moment, when you have that interaction with that teacher, that is not the time to get into an argument about why you had it out. We know things happen. We know mom, dad, parent, guardians are texting you instead of calling the house office, but you should still not have it out. So in that moment, don't argue with the teacher. Just turn the phone over to them. You'll eventually come to the house office, have a conversation with your house principal, and that house principal will then have mom, dad, parent, guardian, somebody come and pick the phone up because we don't give it back to the student on that first infraction, which amounts to a warning. Now, should it happen repeatedly, then there is a discipline consequence affiliated with that in terms of warnings escalating on up to referrals. So please make sure that you have that cell phone off and away all day. Make sure that if you are asked by a staff member or an adult in the building to turn over your cell phone, that's not the time you get into a huge argument with them about it. We can work on that later in the house office. You can chat with the house principal. Similar rule for your earbuds. You shouldn't have wired or wireless earbuds in at all during the day unless you're directed to do so by a staff member. So that could be, maybe in a world language class you might be listening to something. That's fine because the staff member directed you to do so. But if not, you should not have them in. So nothing in your ears walking around the hallways or in the bathroom or in a study hall unless the teacher says it's okay or directs you to do so. So those basically are like cell phones too. They should be off and away all day and not in use. And that is about all I have to cover. Is Mrs. Corrales present? She is. Mrs. Corrales will be up next to talk about the humanitarian words. Thanks.
Good morning. Welcome back, juniors. I'm Mrs. Corrales, and I just wanted to tell you briefly about the Humanitarian Distinction Award that our school has to try to encourage you to do community service and better our community, local, and even in Buffalo. So if you need information on that program, please look at the Orchard Park website. All the rules and everything that needs to be done and all the forms are on that web page under School Counseling Humanitarian Distinction Award. If you did any summer hours, please turn them in by next Wednesday. If you are looking for places, there are suggestions on that page, and you can refer to it. Just make sure if you're doing a place that has not been approved, you fill out the approval form before you do it. Turn it into room 257, that's my room, and come see me if you have any questions. So that is all laid out on the Orchard Park website, all the rules and regulations. If you do 200 hours, you're getting gold in 4 years. If you do 100, it's a silver distinction. 50 is bronze. One more thing I'd like to talk to you about is NHS. Your junior year is when you will receive your NHS invitation if you qualify. There is a new website up on the Orchard Park website for NHS, what the procedures look like, how you get invited, and what you should be doing now to make sure you get accepted. And one of the things you need to do is make sure you have leadership, service, academic, and character. Well, the service is the humanitarian, so follow those rules, get some hours logged. All your hours must be logged through the school. So turn in your sheets for room 257 and start thinking about that now before the invitation comes. If you have any questions, please refer to the website on the Orchard Park School District website. It is under National Honor Society at the high school. So have a good year and keep volunteering. Thanks. I am going to introduce Mrs. Stady right now. Oh, sorry. It's Mr. Biondo.
That's okay. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, juniors. I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of things, then Miss Stady's going to finish up. IDs. Make sure you guys have your IDs with you at all times when you're in school. Teacher can ask you, if you're even walking in the hallway, they can ask you for your school ID. You use it to check out library books and things like that. So you need to have your identification. They're important for the school dance, purchasing tickets, and all that other fun stuff. So make sure you have your IDs. You're going down. If you didn't get it yesterday, go down to your phys ed class. If you were absent yesterday for some reason, I would suggest during your lunch or during a break, go down to the gym and get your photo ID taken. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is parking. And parking is a little bit unique and different this year because juniors, you actually get to park. Well, the good news is that everybody gets to park. There's no charge this year. But the one thing that I am going to tell you is, not like in the past and not like last year, this year you have the month of September to watch the orientation video. Now, some people say, well, Mr. Biondo, I'm not turning 16 until April, And I'm planning on getting my permit and license in April, but I'm not going to turn 16 till then, so I can't apply for parking. And you are correct. So what I'm telling all juniors to do is at least log into the Google Classroom, and all the codes and everything are on the website. Log into the Google Classroom, all right, and watch the orientation video, because the orientation video will only be available through the month of September. And some people might say, well, Mr. Biondo, I'm not going to drive anyways. I'm not going to drive to school. My parents aren't going to let me get my license. And then what happens is, invariably, some uncle wills you his car, and Webo, in middle of February, you have your own car. So all of a sudden, your parents get a brilliant idea, because they get sick of driving you around, that you can drive your car. And then you're going to come to me and say, Mr. Biondo, can I watch the orientation video? And I am going to say no. You have almost 30 days, now about 20 or so days, to log into that Google Classroom and watch the orientation video. Once you get that out of the way, when you apply and everything else, it becomes a very, very easy process. So all of our principals are sitting right here. They're going to back me up. You can make a phone call in February or March. The orientation video will be watched in the month of September. If you have any questions about that, stop me in the hallway, see me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. For those who did apply for parking, and some of you have watched that orientation video already, make sure that you've logged into the Remind app, and sometime this afternoon I'm going to tell you when and where you can pick up your parking permits next week. Again, if you have any questions, please come and see me. All the directions are there, but sometimes we have difficulty navigating things. That's all I have for you. Welcome back, this is going to be a great year, junior year, one of the more important years of high school. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my co-advisor for student activities, Mrs. Stady.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say briefly that I want to reiterate that clubs are back this year, so it's really important to get involved. If you are unfamiliar with what clubs we offer here, they are all listed in the student handbook, which is online. Or if you have any questions about clubs, you can come see me in room 162. The homecoming events, so the pep rally, powder puff, parade, and carnival will all occur this year on Friday, September 24th and Saturday, September 25th. The pep rally and powder puff game will be held at the stadium, and a ticket must be purchased. The other events are free. Please listen to the morning announcements and check your school email to learn more in the coming weeks. Girls Powder Puff registration is online using the parent portal only. It opened yesterday on September 8th and will be open until Monday, September 13th. Follow the directions, and practices will begin on September 14th. Thank you for listening. Teachers, you may log off.